Hello, everyone. Okay. First, thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure to present this to you. I'm just going to start by a disclaimer, really. So, I'm an actress, I'm a theater maker. I'm not an expert on the subject of positive intelligence. So, my story with this lecture began 2 years ago when I read the book by Shirzad Chamine. Can someone help me with we lost the link? So I read this book and I experienced it from the perspective of an actress, because the quote that you shared is actually spot on for this lecture, because I think, as an actor, you will have to have some kind of positive intelligence to be able to understand the characters and think from their perspective and, control your mind in a way, to be able to be in the moment and, present the role that you're trying to play. So I read this book and I, fell in love with it and the idea of the book. And I started sharing it in sessions like this one, in workshops. So I just wanted to say this just to clarify that what I'm sharing today is all based on the book called Positive Intelligence by Shirzad Chamine, who is, Shirzad Chamine, so that's Shirzad Chamine. And you can read his short bio, and some of the material I'm sharing today are actually on his website, which is called positiveintelligence.com. So Shirzad Chamine is the author of the book. He's a neuroscientist and he's a lecturer also at University of Stanford. I'm not going to go into reading the biography. I'm just saying that, again, all the concepts I'm sharing from my experience as a theater maker who read this book, and it worked for me, so I hope it's gonna work for you. So I'm gonna, in this 1 hour and a half we have together, I'm gonna try and give you a concise yet comprehensive summary of what's in the book. Okay. So I asked you before coming today to bring a picture from your childhood, or a picture of a child. Someone did? Do you have it? Can you share with me? Any picture of a child, really. A child, like 1 year old to 5 year old. Perfect, this is great. Okay. Perfect. À téléphone biswa. So it's really a simple exercise that we're gonna start with. You want it back. So please, everyone who gave me an image, make sure that I give it back to you. So, I'm gonna start. It's okay, that's fine. I think we have enough, actually. I think we have enough. So I'm gonna start by showing you this image, because it's big, and I think everyone can see. This is great. All right, thank you. So this, I think everyone can see this image here. Yes? All right. It doesn't matter. I don't think it matters for now, but just look at the image, and I would like you to make a judgment on this image. Scared. Innocent.
Maybe he's hungry.
Hungry.
He needs something.
Waiting for something.
Waiting. Sorry, I didn't get that word. Curious.
Worried. He needs something because
Worried.
he needs something.
Great. It's fine. So, can someone think of a negative word to use on this image? Okay, so let's keep this here. I mean, there are plenty of other images here, so I'm just gonna, maybe you can't see, so I'm just gonna pick one more randomly. Let's see, this one. Oh, this one. I'm just gonna walk around. So, same thing, can you think of an adjective to describe this person in this picture? All right. Cute. Can't see. I'm so sorry. Yes, it's small. It's okay.
Cute, innocent.
All right.
Oh, so elegant.
Elegant, cute, all positive stuff here. Okay, that's fine. Because now everyone can see. That's really fine. So next thing I would like you to do before we actually start with the presentation is, on your notebook, I would like you to answer a very simple question. And it's individual work, so no sharing for now. This is really for you. And it's a question I would like you to contemplate throughout our session today. I would like you to answer the question, are you happy? And I would like you to use one word to answer this question.
Are you happy?
Are you happy? Yes. It's individual, so please don't share for now so we don't intimidate one another. Just answer the question on your own. Yes or no. It's one word, so yes, no, maybe, a doubt. Well, are you happy? Satisfied could be the answer. Why not? Content.
Yes.
Okay, just take a moment to think about it, please. Okay. So what is positive intelligence? PQ.
Like IQ.
Like IQ. Like EQ, emotional intelligence. You've heard of positive intelligence before? Yes. Can you raise your hand if you've...
We heard of positive thinking.
So this is slightly different. It's similar, but it's different. This is all based in science, in neuroscience. So positive intelligence, again, just raise your hand if you've heard about it. Can someone share there? Would you please tell me, what do you know about?
I think positive intelligence, it's like emotional intelligence somehow.
It's like emotional intelligence.
Yes.
Okay. She's saying it's like emotional intelligence. Okay.
Thinking positively.
Thinking positively.
Emotion is not always positive.
Okay, emotions are not always positive. That's true.
It's using
Yes.
your mind. You use your mind to get the positive thinking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, it's true. A very simple definition of positive intelligence is this. So, according to Shahzad Shamin, the premise that we're starting from today is this. Your mind can be your best friend, but it can also be your worst enemy. Okay? So if you accept this premise, then you will be able to understand that positive intelligence is the relationship between these two modes. Okay? It's the strength, relative strength of these two modes of your own mind. So for instance, when we say, let's say that someone has a PQ of 75, let's say, what does that mean? It means that their mind is serving them 70% of the time.
Positively.
Being their friend, so positively. So when we say you have an intelligence of 75%, it means your mind is being your best friend 70% of the time. Now, this is of course very relative because we're not talking about times when you're, having a vacation in Cyprus at the beach. We're not talking about, in times of intense grief, like for, a death in the family. We're talking about, like everyday life, basically. Right. Okay. So how do we measure and the impact, or how do we measure positive intelligence and what impact it has on us? So again, the premise is that all the negative, destructive ideas are actually generated by what we're gonna call today, I want you to remember this word, saboteurs, okay? The saboteurs, or mukharrib, exactly. مدمر, مخرب, all right? So these saboteurs, what they do when our mind is not serving us is they بخربوا, they sabotage, our well-being, basically. So, of course, we're talking about these saboteurs functioning in different circumstances, regardless of the circumstances. Now, the good thing is that we also can have what we're going to call the sage to support us and to confront these saboteurs and put them to their limits. Okay? So it's really a game that we're going to play with our minds here. So again, PQ is measured by calculating the percentage of sage-generated feelings versus saboteur-generated feelings in the course of a typical day. Okay? Questions? I see you reading the slides. It's okay. I'll give you this information if you need it. So why does it matter? Why do you think PQ matters? Why does it matter? Now, according to Shirzad Shamin, in the book, they give us like really different kinds of studies, scientific studies, that shows, for instance, that salespeople who have higher PQ levels are actually better at sales. It shows us that in terms of teams, in teams that have positive intelligence of a higher level, the team is, usually performs better than other teams. And etc. All kinds of, studies. But at the individual level here, and what matters today, why does it matter? Because maybe it has an impact on our happiness.
But excuse me, what's the P stands for? For instance,
Positive.
The
The P is the positive intelligence. So I'm going to take questions. Yes?
When you put numbers like 30, 19, 75,
Right.
how can you define these numbers?
Well, again, this is going to be like...
Accurately.
Yes. So there's a whole method, scientific method, again, is mentioned in the book that we cannot go into today because we really have an hour and 30 minutes. I'm going to try and show you like some practical ways of figuring out your saboteurs and maybe one exercise to help you develop your sage. But all these are supported by documents and by the methodology of the studies that shows you how they actually got to these numbers. And again, it's not measured over, extreme situations. It's typical days and over a period of time. So your PQ really does vary from day to day or even from a period of your time to another period, depending on what you're going through. But hopefully the idea is if you have a powerful sage, you will be able to maintain, relatively speaking, a high positive intelligence level. So I want to speak a little about, because I thought that this is what, is interesting for me, and I thought this is what I would like to share with you. The relationship between PQ and happiness. Okay, might sound like at first, doubtful. What does that mean? Because in general, when we think of happiness, hopefully not you, but I've worked with youngsters, and usually it's the idea of the surrounding what makes us happy. So it's always external. But the idea here is that happiness is an internal business. It's something that needs to start from within. So if we define happiness by the percentage of time we experience life's positive and desirable feelings, then your PQ score becomes your happiness score. Okay, so of course now everyone has their own definition of happiness, but we're talking here about, happy moments where you are actually feeling positive, regardless of what's happening around you in your surrounding, all right? So it doesn't really matter if you have lots of money or if you have no money, or if you're, super successful or you have an average job. It doesn't really matter, these circumstances. What matters is what's happening within. So again, these are different examples. So this explains, for instance, why researchers have shown that external events such as winning a big lottery or becoming a paraplegic through an accident on average have little lasting impact on happiness. So again, it's an inside kind of game. Okay. So I want to move on to the saboteurs and the sage. So the saboteurs are the internal enemies. These are the voices that speak to us, that are really unwanted most of the time. We don't want this internal voice telling us that we're gonna fail, it's not gonna work, we're not worthy of something, all these like judgments and ideas that puts negative self-talk, if you want to put it simply. Yes. And these are automatic and habitual mind patterns. So it's not a question of whether I have them or not, really. We all have them because at some point in our evolution and our development, we all needed them to survive. Okay, so for instance, I'm going to move forward a little fast and we'll come back to the sage. For instance, many people would say, for instance, something like, I have a very happy childhood, I don't have saboteurs. Now, even in that case, according to Shirzad Shamin, we all do have them, because sometimes to survive emotionally, let's say you're a child and at some point in your life your mom got sick and she had to go to the hospital. This is like something that would happen with almost everyone, right? So to survive emotionally, you developed some kind of, mind patterns to allow you to understand what's happening. And this is enough for us to really develop these voices and have them stay with us until our adult age, where we don't really need them. Now, this is, of course, an ideal situation where you have a happy childhood. Now, if we, speak to general public, in general, people would say that they have problems in their childhood, right? Not everyone had a super great childhood. So these saboteurs, as I said, they were important at some point for us to survive. And it's genetic. It's something that we also get from our ancestors. Like being super vigilant, for instance. Our ancestors had to flee if they see whatever, like tree, the wind shaking the tree, because it could be an animal hiding in that tree, and if we don't run away, we're gonna die. So through ages, we developed this, this kind of reaction. But then in today's world, if you're living here, for instance, if you're working at AUB, you don't have to run every time you see something like unnatural happen. You just have to pause and think and weigh all the possibilities and then react accordingly. So it's something that happens unconsciously, okay? And that's why these saboteurs are most of the time disguised under, fake masks of, I think like that because, I'm a perfectionist, I keep pushing people to do their job because I'm a perfectionist and I don't allow things to go wrong. Stuff like this, that really makes us, in a way, miserable in our lives, not really happy. Okay, so I'm gonna go back here to define what are these saboteurs. So according to Shirzad Shamin, we have 10 of them, and the judge there is the most powerful and is mainly in everyone's head, okay? And the rest, it's usually the judge with like 2 or 3 accomplices. So let's go over them. So the restless, what does that mean? Non-stop, always having the need to always do something. Busy all the time, for instance.
Like an active, hyperactive child. The same or something.
I wouldn't say the same, not exactly. I mean, let's say, I don't know, you're in a very successful place in your career and you're already achieved and, you know what you're doing and all of this, but you still feel like it's not enough. So you don't want to sleep. You don't want to live your life. You don't want to have balance between social activities and work and all of this. So, and most of the time, again, these ideas are hidden behind a good mask, like it's for my own good because I need to achieve more because I can achieve more. Now, I'm going to give you another slide with a little bit more description, and I'll actually give it to you on a sheet. So, but I'm just going to say the names of these, and for now, you don't have to share this with me, but, process a little bit internally and see which of these saboteurs you know. Okay, so stickler, do you know what that means? Stickler is like مصر يعني مش insist بس انه بتنقي quality وانا هيك انا هالشخص يعني almost obsession بصفة معينة. Okay, so
توصف الشخص بصفة معينة.
ايه عم نحكي عن حالنا. I'm not talking about describing other people for now. For now I'm talking about things that we think about ourselves. Okay, how do we judge ourselves? Okay, hyper rational, ما في emotions,
Only man.
logic all the time. Okay, controller,
Tries to control everybody.
you don't delegate, you don't want to delegate, you want to do it because people are not good at implementing. I have to do things I have to do it, otherwise it won't be done, and all of these ideas. Pleaser, you want to please everyone at your own expense, no matter what, you want to please everyone. Okay, hypervigilant يعني cautious زيادة عن اللزوم. Okay, so cautious يعني بالعربي حدا ساعدني بيحترس زيادة عن اللزوم. The victim, the victim, الشعب اللبناني, that's us. حق الله, it's all the circumstances. حظي قليل, like you hear it every day. Avoider, I think positively, I don't confront, I don't want problems in my life. All these, again, lies that the saboteurs use against us. Hyperachiever, you know this probably, so again, it's nothing satisfies us, nothing, okay? And the judge is the father of all saboteurs, okay? So I'm gonna give you now, I think what we're gonna do now, can I have some help? So I'm gonna give you these saboteurs.
You need that?
Yeah, thank you. Sure. All right. So I'm gonna give you this sheet now. All right. It's basically the 10 saboteurs with 3 columns next to them. So the first one is the subverted strength. Okay. For instance, if you take the avoider, which is this is basically this is how they present themselves to us, these saboteurs. We're fooled by their subverted strengths. For instance, for someone who's an avoider, they always think that they avoid problems because they are actually positive and they appreciate. But how healthy is that? Okay, that's the question. So you will find the subverted strength of each one of these saboteurs, and then next you'll find the description, which is what they do really, and then the lie, how do they present themselves to you. So let's go over this, and I would like you to take, again, individually, 2 to 3 minutes, okay, to actually try and think what saboteurs you have in you. Okay, so try to, for instance, prioritize them or put them in order. If you're someone you think you're a pleaser, so So that would be your number 1, and then if you think you're an avoider a little bit, that would be your number 2. So try to think about these saboteurs and be honest with yourself, because no one is seeing this but you. Okay? I'll give you this.
It's okay, thank you.
All right? I think I have it here. So here, I have it here as well. So do it individually, just for the fun of it. Take 2-3 minutes to do this. Yes?
فيجيلنت يعني بيحترس زياده عن اللزوم، يعني بيحترس، يعني بيسرسب زياده عن اللزوم، يعني ما بدها تمشي، ما بتمشي بالشارع بالليل لانه بلكي صار شيء، او انه ما بدي سوق سيارتي كل يوم بدي افحصها، احط لها مي قبل ما اسوق. حذر شديد.
I think you can have up to 10 if you want. I hope not. But again, this is just for the fun of it, and this is an individual exercise. So do it individually, and then we'll have some time to talk about it if you want. So to go over it, the judge is again the father of all. The judge's lie is usually, for instance, unless I constantly point to what's wrong, nothing will improve. So this is the voice that is always in judgment mode. Okay, cannot see the cannot have a constructive comment to give to us. It's our voice. Okay, but always has something negative to say, because if I don't point it out, no improvement will happen. Controlling always ensures best outcome. Again, this sounds really positive when you read it like that. But does it make you feel positive? That's the question. So you always can tell if it's something that's working for you, then it should make you feel okay. It should not cause you stress. It should not wake you up at 3 a.m. in the morning to write an email. It should feel fine. If it doesn't feel fine, then this is enough for you to know that this is not okay. This is a saboteur. This is not a sage. Okay, stickler, perfectionism is always the preferred way. Okay? Avoider, I'm just being positive. No good comes out of dealing with conflict. Restless, this is the way to accomplish and experience the most. Pleaser, I do this to help and expect nothing in return. But how happy are we again? Victim, this is the best way to attract attention and affection. Okay, victimhood. Hyper-rational, emotions are useless distractions. Greatest leader's strength is logic. Do you know people like that? Hyper-vigilant, best way to protect self and others is through hyper-vigilance. So, always in the mood of protection.
What is the difference between the description and the lie?
It's what it does to us. So for instance, hyperachiever, the lie is, it's basically the hyperachiever. Let's read, for instance, the description. Narrow focus on achievement to the detriment of relationships, balance, and perspective. So this is what it really does to you. If you're a hyperachiever, okay, you're really only focused on the achievement rather than on, say, the process and the production. I'm working on a production, on a play with 35 people. If I'm only focused on achieving the production, not concerned about the well-being and the emotional well-being of everyone in my team, I'm really narrow. My focus is so narrow. It's only on that thing that, after all, I ruined 2 months of the process, for instance, just to get to this, and no one's going to be happy. So for me, for instance, it's not worth it, So this is what these saboteurs, the description is what they do to you. What you need to be aware of. The lie it's a quotation. It's like a sound of, this is what they are disguised as, because you would think someone who would say, I do this to help and expect nothing in return, This is very positive, right? This is really very positive. However, think from the individual who is experiencing on everyday basis this feeling, like he or she is always doing for the rest, for the others, you know, عمالهم يحكي بالبحر, but then at their own expense. So, but they do this to themselves. No one is doing this to them. They think I'm like that because I want to please everyone. Yes, but are you pleasing yourself?
It's convincing.
And again, this is only my personal opinion, but if you're not happy, if you're not taking care of you, you cannot make anyone happy. You cannot take care of anyone. Not in a selfish way, not to say like it's أنا ومن بعد الطوفان. I'm saying from the sense that you have to be, okay, I'll give you a more practical example. In the plane, okay, when you're traveling, they tell you, إذا صار مسار, you put on your mask before actually putting on the mask, even to your child. They tell you if you have to put on the mask and then put it on the next person. And of course, there's a reason for this. Because if you cannot breathe, if you're not going to be able to help. And I think this is such a simple example to apply here as well. If I'm not okay, if I feel like a victim all the time, I can't help other victims, you know? So think about these lies and try to remember and, you know, contemplate whether you have them. And again, take 5 minutes now. I'm going to give you more time to actually put them in order. Which you did it already. Everyone, do you need more time? Let me give you 3 more minutes then, because I see people are still restless.
Most of these are extremes.
3, you have 3?
I don't have the extremes. So
Excellent, good. I'm so happy for you. I still have many extremes.
so maybe only one.
Yes? Okay, I can't hear you, sorry.
Why are you asking us to put them in order? Order for what?
Not necessarily all of them in order, but if you think you have all of them, I want you to try and think which one is more powerful in your head.
Put them in order what we are, we think what we are.
Yes, yes. What you have, what saboteurs you have, you think you have. If you think you have the pleaser mostly, then your pleaser is, the pleaser is number 1. But then you might not have the controller, for instance, at all, which is good. Yes? Okay, hypervigilant. They say here, reliability and dependability. This is their subverted strength. So the subverted strength is الكذبة, أو this is they present themselves as powerful, as these saboteurs, as strong voices, because for instance, if I'm hyper vigilant, people can depend on me, I can be reliable. But the truth is, hyper vigilant, the description is continuous, intense anxiety about dangers and what could go wrong. This is what it does to you. It's keeping you anxious all the time because things might happen, you know. You don't want to drive your car at 11 p.m. because what if? Or even worse, like you don't want to drive your car every day without checking the motor. Or, you know, like you're really extremely vigilant. Vigilant يعني حذر. Okay, extremely to some illogical level. And the lie is, if I'm not hyper vigilant, I cannot protect myself, for instance, or this is the best way to protect self and others is through being hyper vigilant. So it presents itself as something very positive. But is it? This is the question. Now, sometimes maybe it is. Okay, we're living in a very, you know, turbulent, you know, area, but like again, think here on campus or think in your circumstances, your personal circumstances. Does it apply? Is it something good if you're hyper vigilant? Just contemplate.
Hyper, it's you are extreme.
Yes,
If
extreme.
you are moderate, it will be
Extreme. Extreme. So the key to know if it's a saboteur is by checking in with your feelings. How is it making you feel? Is it making you feel anxious? and anxiety, anxiousness is not a good feeling. We all know, right? Is it making you feel, So again, check in with your feelings to be able to know if it's a saboteur.
Can one be hyper-vigilant and avoidant?
Absolutely. So I can tell you my results if you want. Someone said yes. Maybe I don't have it here. So I removed my results for some reason. No, but I can tell you. I do have the judge, like everyone. I'm a controller. Yes, I'm working on that. Yeah, this is me.
Okay.
I'm talking about me. I'm not going to share your results, but I can tell you from my experience. I think I have the judge in me. I have the controller. I think I have, the pleaser, but I'm working on that. And I think it's a mix between hyperachiever and restless. So and again, it's not to say that it's a disaster. We're all like having problems here. It's just to say that it's good to know, because again, sometimes, like after reading this book, and I noticed this happened to me. So I would be, for instance, thinking about, I'm busy in a production and have tons of things to think about. And I wake up at 3 a.m. thinking about, I need to talk to the costume designer, I need to talk to the light designer, I forgot to mention this to the stage manager, and all the things that can go wrong comes to me at 3 a.m. Now here,
What do you call this?
yeah, this is between restless and, I don't know, like controller, controller mainly. So I think the way to do it is, if I'm aware of this, okay, and I'll show you the method to tackle this. I'll show you the simple and beautiful method to actually empower the sage in you. If the sage is empowered in you, okay, the voice of the sage, then this voice will come up and say that it's 3 a.m., I can't do anything about it now, I need to either sleep or wake up, write that email, and then, but again, I mean, you would think like, before this book, for me, it was like, yes, this is great, because at least I don't forget. I'm waking up in the middle of the night, and I know what I need to be doing. Okay, but is it really like, what is better? Like sleeping, having good amount of sleep, waking up healthy, feeling good and, positive, or feeling up like tired, exhausted? What is better? How can I achieve more in my day? And obviously, if I sleep, I would be much happier in the morning. So it's just a matter of realizing that when these voices are serving you and when are they actually sabotaging you. Yes?
Would saboteurs change on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, depending on the circumstances?
I think in my case, again, some of your questions I won't be able to answer, because again, I'm not the neuroscientist here. But in my case, I think again, in reflection, I think I was 100% a pleaser when I was in my early 20s. As I gained more confidence, as I became what I wanted to be, as I started achieving my dream, I didn't feel like I had to be the pleaser all the time. So I wasn't afraid anymore of the judgment of others to be the pleaser all the time. So it does change. I think it does change. Absolutely. So now that you have, you have an idea about these saboteurs, and you kind of made your own contemplation and figured out which of them you have, I'm going to talk about the 3 strategies to increase the PQ muscles, what Shazachinin calls the PQ muscles, okay, in the book. So there are actually 3 simple methods of empowering the sage, all right? Number 1 is weaken the saboteurs, okay? So this sounds really simple. Let's see. So first strategy is to weaken the saboteur. So how do you do that? First of all, the advice is don't judge them. Because if you're judging them, you're doing exactly the same thing. Okay, you're sabotaging the sabotage using only the negative energy that you have. So don't judge them, don't fight them. Just be aware. So simply, he says, simply observe them. And by observing them, label them. Okay, so give them a name. If you think you're a controller, give that voice in you a name and make it silly. Make it a silly name. Make it a name that you won't take seriously. And then when the voice happens, when the saboteur is working to sabotage you, instead, for instance, this is me. I shared my example here. So instead of saying, let's say, I'm not capable and it's not enough what I achieved so far. So instead of using the I, because when you use the I, it's like the absolute truth, right? You know yourself, you're talking about you, so there need not be doubt. Instead of saying, I am not capable, what if I said, super mad woman thinks I'm not capable? So what I did here is I distanced myself from that voice. That voice is not my truth. That voice is not me. Okay? So when I observe that voice, what I need to do simply is don't fight them. They're going to be there. Accept them, observe them, and instead of saying, I have to do it myself because my employee or my assistant won't be able to do it. What if you say, super mad woman thinks that I have to do it myself because my employee can't do it. Automatically it sounds like slightly ridiculous, right? Instead of saying, I need to push people to get things done, what if I say, Madame Boss thinks that I should push people to get things done? Again, I'm putting that distance between me and that voice. Right? Take a moment, think of your biggest saboteur, strongest one, and I want you to give them a really nasty name now. Silly, ugly, nasty name. Yeah, just give them a name. You have it? Can you share some of the names? Do you want to share the names? Yes? Badr al-Duja, lovely name. Share some of your names. Yes? Monster. Yes. Anyone else? Mudira. Sharshabil. I like Sharshabil. Sharshabil. حلو كتير. Pickbox? Pickbox? Nice. مين؟ بيدون؟ حلو. ببيض وجه. بيدون لأنه ببيض وجه. مس بيدون. اوكي. ان شاء الله ما حدا من عائلة بيدون هون. اوكي سوري. ست الحسن والدلال. Perfect. Okay. So glad you have some fun names to call your saboteurs. Really remember them. Before we move on to the next strategy, I want to also share another technique, and this I find really beautiful, and it's really hard to do. It's not easy to do. So again, the premise here is that all the stress we experience in our life, and this might sound a little extreme. Some of you might not agree, but bear with me. So all this stress is saboteur generated, okay? Now you might say that, some events that happen in our lives are actually beyond us, like death, right? It's true, but there's a difference between healthy grieving and unhealthy. And the example I want to give here, and maybe again this is a little philosophical and extreme, so we can take a little, a slightly different example. You're passing through a hard time, a hard relationship, or a difficulty at your work, or any kind of really problem that's causing you lots of distress. So the idea is that, or the saboteur, what the saboteur does to us is similar in a way to the following example. So imagine you have, visualize with me the experience of putting your hand on a hot stove. What you usually does is you remove your hand. So that moment of burning feeling, that moment of the pain is very important and is very needed for you to realize that I need to do something about it and remove my hand. But many times in life, this is physical, this is something that's tangible, you feel it. And it's also an automatic impulse, like you don't think about it, you just remove your hand, because our system is very smart, our bodies are very smart. But usually in life, we pass through similar experience in a way where, if we want to use the metaphor of the stove, it's like we're keeping our hand on the stove. And instead of doing something about it, we're like, Ya Rabbi, lish ana? Why me? Why a hot stove? Why this happened to me? Why? It's like, it's silly, really. But we, of course, I'm not judging us, I'm not judging myself as well, but this happens. And realizing that it's a saboteur doing this to us is like half of the solution. So the 3-gift technique that Shazad Shamin shares with us is a very simple technique where, when in distress, when in a very tough situation, again, it might be very hard, but what you need to do is just stop and think of 3 potential gifts that you will get from this exact situation. Okay? What are 3 possible scenarios? You're getting fired from your work. Your daughter is moving to Paris. Whatever. So it's a distressing situation. It's a tough one, okay? You can't deal with it. You're thinking, khalas, this is the end. Oh, I'm not gonna see her like once in a year maybe. But if you can stop and think about 3 positive things that will come out of this situation, then maybe this will help you. And someone's daughter is going to Paris? Sorry, I didn't know.
Say, I will visit her.
For instance, let's work. No, for instance, I'll get a chance to go to Paris. I've never been to Paris. She's gonna meet the love of her life. Maybe.
She will make much more money.
She'll make much more money. I'll be in a better, So really, it depends from person to person what would be the 3 positive scenarios. But this is one way, of doing it. So let's talk about strategy number 2. In the process of empowering your sage. Now,
What's number 1?
number 1 is weaken the saboteur by observing them, giving them a silly name, and putting distance between them and you. They're not your truth. Number 2 is it's the powers, the 5 sage powers. Okay, empathize, explore, innovate, navigate, activate. I'm gonna show them in a table. So these are 5 sage powers that you can develop so that you have the voice of your sage present with you whenever you need them. Okay, number 1 is empathize. When can you use this power? Okay, when, for instance, in situations where emotions are involved, strong feelings are involved. And the power game is visualize the child. So you're having a conflict with a person, a real conflict, you know. You want to slap them. You can't stand their guts. You just hate them. If you can allow the sage to help you see the child in that person, like we did at the beginning of this session, no one was able to say a bad word about the children in the picture, right? If you can see the child in them, that will give you some distance to relax and think that they are struggling as well, you know. We're all in the same boat here. So this is an amazing power game. The next one is explore. So this is, when do you need to explore? When you want to discover more about what's going on before acting, before making a judgment. Okay? So the power game is play the role of a fascinated anthropologist. What do anthropologists do? Anthropologists بيدرس علم الإنسان. Right? These are the scientists that go around studying behaviors, norms, living with communities, like really fascinating stuff. You want to understand certain rituals, why they do it. So imagine you're the fascinated anthropologist. Again, what this does is gives you a distance from the situation. So, and this distance will allow you to judge it with less bias. The third power is innovate. And when do you need this is the obvious or existing ideas don't suffice. You need to think outside the box. And the power game is simply yes and. So for instance, you're sitting in a meeting, you're having a team meeting, you're discussing an idea at work, and someone gives an idea that's horrible, that you don't like, you don't appreciate. Instead of saying but, or instead of saying we can't do this, instead of saying this doesn't work, instead of saying all of this, try and say yes and. So this is actually something we use in improv, in theater. So in improvisation, this is one of the main rules. If we're playing, I'm playing with a co-actor and they say, "Hi Sahar, شو هالقعدة الحلوة قاعدة على البحر اليوم." I can't say, "أي بحر أنا بالAUB, this is auditorium B." No, I have to accept the offer and say yes. And in a while, we're going to go to AUB, whatever, like if I want to move the scene to AUB. So it's really a simple exercise. I try to do it with my husband all the time. And don't say no, say yes and, try and build. And maybe you'll divert at the whatever, like that idea that you don't like, you will push it away, but in a very constructive fashion. Because but is negative. Because but is like you're saying something. That's not my phone. But is like you're saying this doesn't work, we have to do something else. Instead, you're saying yes and you're building on it. Okay, so there's nothing negative in yes and. Okay, and it actually, what it does is that it allows you to make some really great discoveries outside of the box of your own thinking. Navigate. So when do you use this power? When you need to find alignment with deeper values, purpose, or meaning. This is quite interesting. So flash forward is the power game. You're stuck. You're in a situation that you have to make a decision about it now. Okay? You can't make that decision for whatever, different reasons. Take a moment, close your eyes, and flash forward in 5 years. Do I want to be living in Canada? Let's say the decision is immigrate or not to immigrate. Do I want to be, away from my family, whatever? Like in 5 years, do I still want to be doing plays at AUB?
Planning.
Yeah.
No planning.
It's planning, but it's also, instead of building on past experiences, try to build on future experiences that you haven't lived yet. So push yourself to think, what is it like to be in that situation? Okay, so this is ideal if you have to use it again. You're trying to find meaning. You're trying to have, you're here. You got a job offer to be in Dubai. Now it's really hard to make this decision because you love your job here. You're enjoying your family. The weather in Lebanon is great. All of this, but at the same time in Dubai, I'll have a higher salary. I'll have basic infrastructures, everything works there, all of whatever. You're trying to put the pros and cons and you still can't make a decision, right? So flash forward. Think about 5 years from now. Where would you be? What would you like to do? And the last power of the 5 sage powers is activate. So you need to take action without saboteur interference, okay? Preempt the saboteurs. For instance, you have to make, you're thinking about, I'm trying to think of an example. So you have a meeting with someone, okay? And you know that this person always annoys you, but you have to have that meeting because it's life and you have work and you have something, you have a relationship, business relationship with that person, but you always know that they have a way of annoying you. And you know that your saboteur will come to say something like, they can't do their job, I have to do it for them. This is the controller, right? So you know that this is going to happen. What you can do is preempt it. So say that when I go to that meeting, super mad woman is going to appear and tell me that they can do their job, and I'm going to tell her, stay out of this, it's not your place, whatever. Really play that scenario and preempt. Preempt is بالعربي حدا يساعدني قبل ما تصير. So وقفها قبل ما تصير. توقع شو رح يصير وقفها قبل ما تصير. So preempt. Something like that. تعشيهم للسابوترز قبل ما يتغدوك. I like that. أو تغديهم قبل ما يتعشوك. Exactly. Okay. Great. So these are the 5. This is the second stage, the second strategy of empowering your sage and ending the saboteurs. And the last one, the third strategy, is basically building your PQ brain muscles. And Shirzad Shamin thinks of our PQ as really a muscle. Like if you want to build your biceps, you have to go to the gym every day and do a certain set of whatever bicep practice. And if you stop, even if you've been going to the gym for 5 years and you stop, the muscle is going to weaken. And it's exactly the same thing with our PQ brain muscles. You can't stop training them. You can't think that, oh, now I know exactly what I have and I know I have a powerful sage, it's going to stay. No, because circumstances are changing. We're growing every day and things are changing for us, and we need to keep building these muscles. So I'm going to show you the 5-minute guidance, and if you like it, we can do the 15, or you can do it on your own because these are actually available on the website that I showed you. So, So I'm gonna leave you with the audio. This is an audio, Shazad Shamin's voice, and he's gonna guide you through this exercise. Okay, I would like you to just try and do it without, thinking much about it. So everyone's ready. I think you don't need your pens and papers and phones. If just release yourself from some of the bags and burdens. Okay. Ready? So you're just gonna hear the voice, and Shirzad's voice is gonna tell you what to do. It's a simple breathing, imagination exercise. Okay? Let's do it. Can we turn off the lights slightly, like next to you, maybe?
Hello, this is Shirzad Shamin, author of Positive Intelligence. I will be guiding you for 15 minutes to activate your PQ brain regions. On average, this will get you about 45 PQ reps towards your daily goal of 100. Please sit with your back and spine relatively straight. Have your head be straight, not tilted down. Have your chest be open. If you're sitting on a chair, have your feet flat on the floor. And now close your eyes. For the next 15 minutes, give your busy mind chatter a rest. Keep letting go of thoughts as they come to you, and bring your attention instead to your body. Thoughts will keep coming, so please don't get frustrated by that. That is not a sign of failure. It is impossible for you to stop the flow of your mind chatter. The key is that when you catch yourself drifting in thought, just let it go and anchor your attention back in your body. Chances are that you have been mostly in your head, so begin to notice that you even have a body. Begin to feel the weight of your body on your seat. Really occupy your body fully. Feel the whole weight of your body on your seat. Feel the weight of your feet on the floor. Feel the weight of your hands wherever they are resting. We are now going to systematically tense and relax different parts of your body so that it becomes easier for you to focus on your physical sensations. Please make sure you only tense up your muscles to a degree that won't injure yourself. Bring your attention now to your head and face. Notice any tension or any other sensations in your head and face area. Now tense up and crunch up all the muscles of your head and face. Tense up your skull, your forehead, your eyebrows, your lips, your jaw, all the muscles of your head and face. And put exquisite attention on how this tension feels. Be fascinated by these sensations. Let go of that tension. Let go of that tension and notice the more relaxed sensation of your head and face. Keep letting go of thoughts as they come to you. Let go of any thoughts you might be having. Bring your attention now to your neck, shoulders, arms, and hands. Notice any tension or any other sensations in that region of your body. Now tense up the muscles of your neck, shoulders, arms, and hands. Tense up the muscles of your neck, shoulders, arms, and hands, and be fascinated by those sensations. Let go of that tension. Let go of that tension and feel the more relaxed sensations in that region of your body. Let go of any thoughts you might be having. Bring your attention now to your chest and stomach. Notice any sensation you have in that region of your body. Let go of any thoughts you might be having. Now tense up the muscles of your chest and stomach. Tense up the muscles of your chest and stomach and be fascinated by those sensations. Let go of that tension. Let go of that tension and feel the more relaxed sensation in that region of your body. Notice the rising and falling of your chest or stomach with each breath. Notice the temperature and texture of air as it enters your nostrils, and the temperature and texture of air as it exits your nostrils with each breath. Let go of any thoughts you might be having. Bring your attention now to your seat, thighs, legs, and feet. Notice any sensation you have in that region of your body. Let go of any thoughts you might be having. Now tense up the muscles of your seat, thighs, legs, and feet. Tense up the muscles of your seat, thighs, legs, and feet, and be fascinated by those sensations. Let go of that tension. Let go of that tension and feel the more relaxed sensation in that region of your body. Notice the weight of your body on your seat. Really occupy your body fully. Come into your body fully and feel the entire weight of your body on your seat. Feel the pressure of your back against the chair cushion. Feel the weight of your feet on the floor. Now notice and account for each of your 10 toes. To find all your toes, you might want to wiggle them a little. Let go of any thoughts you might be having. Bring your attention to your hands now. Notice the weight of your hands wherever they are resting. Now notice and find each of your 10 fingers. To find all your fingers, you might want to wiggle them a little. Now rub two fingers gently against each other with such exquisite attention that you can feel the fingerprint ridges on both fingers. Bring your attention now to the skin of your hands and the skin of your face. Notice any sensation of touch, temperature, or air on the skin of your hands or the skin of your face. Shift your attention now to your sense of hearing. Hear the farthest away sound that you can hear. Hear the farthest away sound that you can hear. Now hear the closest by sound that you can hear. Hear the closest by sound that you can hear. Perhaps it is the sound of your own breathing or something else. One last time, bring your attention to your breathing. Notice the rising and falling of your chest or stomach with each breath. Notice the temperature and texture of air as it enters your nostrils, and the temperature and texture of air as it exits your nostrils with each breath. One last time, bring your attention to the weight of your body on your seat. Feel the full weight of your body on your seat. Feel the pressure of your back against the chair. Feel the weight of your feet on the floor. I will be quiet now for a little while. With your eyes still closed, continue sitting there and paying attention to any of the sensations of your body, your breathing, your hearing, or any other sensations, while letting go of thoughts as they come.
Okay, I'm gonna take over from Jersad's voice. So, can we have some lights? Hey, Bruce. Were you able to feel the fingerprints and hearing voices outside coming from campus? So giving attention to your body. Imagine, I use this sometimes, feeling the weight on your seat. When I'm driving, you know, everyone knows driving in Beirut is like battling, you know, surviving, like you have to survive the roads on Beirut. So sometimes when I remember, if I'm annoyed by another driver, what I do is I feel my weight on the seat. It automatically shifts my attention to my body and gets me distracted from that annoyance. So I hope that was a useful exercise. We're gonna have like 10 minutes of comments or questions. I have a summary slide here for you. I'm gonna put it up as we actually talk about this. And then before you go today, I have one last exercise to do. It's like a 1-minute exercise really. But this is so we spoke today about the positive intelligence by Shirzad Shamin, and think of it as such. It's a simple graph, or image. You have a certain expectation, but then something happens: a failure, an error, a mistake, breakdown, accidents. There are 2 ways to go. One way, one path is, of course, with that accident, with that bang, there's the negative energy. The one way to go is a saboteur response, which is a denial, an escape, guilt, blame, avoidance, addictions, violence, etc. And then there's the sage response, which is pause and think, physical exercise, talk to others, mediation, prayer, look for lesson. Think of the 3-gift technique, for instance. See the humor, express feelings and gratitude. Think of the blessings that you have. So, we do have 5 minutes for questions, if you have any.
1 minute.
Yes. Okay.
Just please, we only have time for barely 3 questions.
Yes.
Okay, so we're very sorry, we cannot accommodate more.
As you were explaining positive intelligence, I also had in mind yoga and meditation.
Yeah.
Now, how much does that help positive intelligence? Point number 1. Secondly, as if this is a neuroscience, is there any nutrition that can help us also move into more positive intelligence? These are two questions.
Both questions are very important. I think for yoga, anyone here practices yoga? Yes, I think all the hands can say yes for that question. I think it's very important because it's also breathing, because it's physical activity, but yoga is not for everyone. You might be running might be useful for you, or playing aerobics, or walking, or so yes, I would say any kind of physical activity is very, very important. As for some nutrition, I would say absolutely yes, because we know that many illnesses, psychological illnesses, sometimes are actually due to certain biological problems that we have, maybe we're not aware of. Like the first thing doctors do when they're faced with a psychiatric problem is rule out any biological factors. Is there a tumor? Is there a tumor causing delusions, or is it something else? So ruling out biological factors is very important. And children sometimes they they become violent, and if you read about it, sometimes the cause is some kind of malnutrition. So yes, but I don't have the expertise, the knowledge to tell you what exactly to do, but I think the answer is yes. Other questions? Yes. Go ahead, it's okay.
I commented earlier that I did not notice any extreme saboteurs in my system because I felt that I had the balance, and the sage was overwhelming the saboteurs.
Amazing.
So is that?
It's possible. Absolutely. It's absolutely possible. Yes. I mean, the key is your instinct. You will be able to tell if the emotion that you're feeling is a healthy one. If you're angry all the time, it's not healthy. Even if your mind is telling you, I'm doing this for your own good, I'm doing this because you have to be vigilant, but you're angry all the time, you're anxious all the time, you're not happy, you're overwhelmed, you're stressed, all of this. So if you have all of this, you should know that voice in your mind, which presents itself as a very healthy one, is not really healthy. But in your case, yes, of course, good for you. Sorry.
شكرا على المحاضرة القيمة. هي قصة السابوتور إذا تمدى إنه شيء مدمر أو شيء خطر أو سلبي، يمكن حقيقة أنا عندي رأي ثاني، مش كلها سلبيات وكلها عناصر العشرة ما كلها متساوية. يعني أنا بفهم إنه الإيفويدر هروبي، الريستلس مرضي، الفيكتيم شعور مرضي بده علاج، بس الباقيين بعتبرهم عناصر قوة وعناصر سعادة. يمكن هي بتميز الإنسان عن ثاني وبتعطيه بالعكس، ما بتعطيه إنه شعور إنه هو مدمر أو شيء عم يخرب له سلوكه أو شخصيته. بالعكس هي صفات شخصية يمكن مصدر سعادة للعديد من الناس بعملهم، بعلاقاتهم، بمثاليتهم، بالإيديال تبعهم. شكرا.
Yes and no. The answer, I think, from what I was, explaining today, you will know if these voices are healthy or not. Again, like I just said, many times we resist. We are in resistance. We don't want to accept that this voice is not healthy. But as you say, if you feel that your life is in balance, you have no problems, your relationships are successful, your being at work is great feeling, if you know that you have all of this, then of course they are in balance. They don't have to be all the time negative, right? But let's say you're someone at work and your boss is always harassing you or giving you more work than they should, right? And you keep telling yourself, I don't want to confront because I don't want problems. Thank God I have my salary. All of these thoughts that you would think are positive. You're avoiding, you're running away from confronting someone who is maybe harassing you or maybe not, abusing your rights, all of this. So again, the answer is, you know better. You should follow your instinct. You should follow your instinct. They don't have to be negative. If you're an achiever, that's not negative. But I think if that's all you care about, more than, more than the people you're working with, more than your life, more than your health, you're an achiever, but your health is in big trouble. You have headaches, you're not eating well. Or again, it's a matter of what works for you, what doesn't work for you. Again, the answer is internal. It's check in with your feelings. Am I feeling happy? Am I feeling okay? Am I feeling stressed? And then you find your answers. Yes? Thank you, that's it.
Thank you very much for a very interesting lecture and exhilarating as well.
Sorry, I can't hear. Do you wanna, so should we give a minute for those of you